AUDL presents Ultimate Greatness, a series showcasing the most memorable games, athletes, and storylines in the history of professional Ultimate. Welcome to a world where the majestic floating disc redefines possibility, and even at the pinnacle of competition, spirit and integrity still reign supreme. Previously on Ultimate Greatness, the San Francisco Flamethrowers started slowly in their semifinal game against Madison, but found their groove late to clinch a spot in the title game for the first time in franchise history. After a year with Dallas, Bo Kittredge is back in the Bay Area and seeking his fourth straight AUDL title. Surprisingly standing in San Francisco's way, the Toronto Rush, who also overcame a sluggish start to absolutely shock the defending champs from Dallas in their semifinal. That brings us to Championship Sunday in 2017, with Toronto, one day after dethroning Bo's old team, aiming to also end the title reign of Ultimate's greatest winner in the biggest game of the year.
It's finals day. We've already won over the great Montreal crowd by wearing Expo shirts during our warm-ups, and we're playing an amazing San Francisco team who, the night before, was cheering for us to win because they wanted to play us instead of Dallas. That served as a little bit of extra motivation for us, and we just knew that we sort of had to keep our great weekend going and pull off another upset.
Yeah, there's so much talent on these lines today and just so much at stake. I mean, this is the finals. Toronto has been waiting for this moment for years. They get another crack at it in front of a Canadian crowd. What a moment.
Cassidy Rasmussen has matched up with Andrew Carroll a bunch in the past, but it was Carroll on defense and Rasmussen on offense. Today, it's the reverse with Cassidy playing D, trying to contain Carroll, and Cam Harris's first throw easily intercepted by Byron Liu.
Miscommunication with Burrell downfield. Burrell going for the deep. Harris thinking he's coming under. Both of these teams got off to sluggish starts yesterday. We'll see if San Francisco can take advantage of the early mistake.
Dahlman wants Kearns, and he's got him. What a catch by Eli Kearns in an opening break just 35 seconds in. Bo Kittredge, of course, has won 3, and there are 5 guys on the San Francisco team that are all going for their 3rd titles today. Ashlyn Joy, Marcelo Sanchez, Cassidy Rasmussen, Greg Cohen, and Kevin Cox. This is Mark Lloyd. Helped the Rush cap a perfect season in their inaugural 2013 campaign. This Toronto roster today has 7 guys who are on that team.
So it might be a possibility that you're going to see a lot of different changes throughout the game, but early on we say Isaiah Masekele on Bo Kittredge.
Jackie Howes on Grant Lindsley, who bids for the fake, thought the throw went up. Lindsley then overshoots Sanchez, and McKenzie picks it off. Marcy marking Lloyd. Resets near the sideline. He was out of bounds. We saw that yesterday, almost in the same spot, but a foul called. Interference, Jarrett Marin acknowledging the foul, good integrity there. Starting 7 for the San Francisco offense, like yesterday, Ashlyn Joy, Joel Schlockett, Jordan Marcy, the 3 handlers with Mac Taylor, Marcelo Sanchez, Bo Kittredge, and Grant Lindsley downfield. Taylor throws high, Marcy keeps it alive. And a fastball into the end zone for Taylor. Taylor with a great grab. This San Francisco defense yesterday against Madison struggled in the first half to convert. They had so many chances, especially early in the game. In the first half yesterday, the Flamethrowers were 0 for 8 on break chances. The difference in the game was the fact in the second half they were 5 for 5, and they're 1 for 1 so far today.
Yeah, such an interesting team. You just never know. You just never know what you're going to get with San Francisco. They could blow this team out, or they could lose by 5.
Burrell draws some oohs and ahs from the crowd. This is Ben Burrell. He had 4 goals and 4 assists yesterday, was named Toronto's MVP for the game, but an inauspicious start.
Greg Cohen all alone. Greg Cohen all alone deep. The disc is definitely popping up a little bit. I don't know if there's a crosswind or what's causing that.
Kearns goes over the top, and Cox juggles and drops. Breaks a streak of 6 straight defensive conversions by the San Francisco D-line. But yeah, there's some kind of cross breeze. Seems like a pleasant day, but uncharacteristic drop from Harris. And then this throw sized up by Antoine Davis. Cox throws it. Kearns to the end zone. Davis wide open. Devin Williams, Sam Canner, Mike Spear, Sawyer Thompson all on the field now with Lucas Dahlman, Lior Gavall.
So another miscommunication downfield. Martin able to somehow still make the catch against pressure from Williams.
I don't think Toronto faced this pressure yesterday, and they need to adjust. Sometimes it's hard to calibrate, and that's why they're down a couple of breaks.
Stall count was rising. Lloyd first forced to fire, and it's Dahlman who deflects it away, and then it's kept alive. Connor Armstrong dishes to win for the goal.
So the gods are smiling on Canada right now. Get the block they wanted on that play, but just great awareness, and Toronto capitalizes.
Here's Bo Kittredge, marked by Lloyd. Lindsley harassed by Ian McKenzie. There was a pick downfield, which will cost San Francisco 10. Worth mentioning, guys, that these two teams did meet earlier this season on June 17th, the final game of the Cross Coast Challenge, which was a 4-game series of interdivisional play between the top 2 teams from each division a year ago. San Francisco went to Toronto with a shorthanded roster, and the Rush, after trailing 9-8 at the end of the first quarter, took a 16-15 lead into the half and pulled away to win 33-27.
Toronto's playing good defense on this possession, but San Francisco's staying very patient, fighting through the double teams.
Well, it was Ashland Joy's break to Bo Kittredge that opened it up for Grant Lindsley.
Yeah, I think the big takeaways from that game from San Francisco were, 1, we know we can beat this team because they were able to keep it close without a lot of their best players. And 2, we need to figure out who this Carroll guy is. Those are the big takeaways. Carroll was unbelievable, and he was relatively unknown to these San Francisco players.
Carroll going deep on Rasmussen, and he read it perfectly. Carroll needs a reset, and he'll get one with the end zone hammer to Thompson McKnight.
Number 19, Thompson McKnight.
Brett Tan very nearly got the underneath D on Lindsley.
Tama's really good at guarding the greatest cutters in the entire sport for some reason. I mean, he gets a clean D on Dylan Freechot, and that looked like it should have been a D on an under to Grant Lindsley. Not a lot of guys getting Ds on the under to Grant Lindsley.
Oh goodness, Toronto's switching defense may have confused San Francisco just enough. Now Massa Kelly smooths it for Martin. A stall called on Martin, and Toronto with their first break opportunity of the day, unable to capitalize.
Delay of game against the new offense, back 10.
So a delay of game called.
He may have set his pivot foot in the wrong spot.
Bo Kittredge?
Like Ashland. Oh, interesting. And Ashland wants Bo Kittredge. Hanging in the air. Bo elevates and scores.
Even though he gets a lot of credit, I don't think that Ashland Joy gets as much credit as he deserves. If he has a disc in his hand and a player on their team has a step deep, you've done something wrong. And too many times in this game, we had Ashland with the disc in a great position and allowed their deep receivers a step deep, and that's just not the recipe for success.
Thompson McKnight was the Rush's leading passer yesterday, but only with 25 completions. And it showed Toronto's depth, Brian. They had 12 different guys that had at least 10 completions in the game. San Francisco, or Dallas on the other hand, only had 7 guys with 10+ completions, and it was, Kurt Gibson led the Roughnecks with 77 completions. Thompson McKnight led Toronto with 25. What does that tell you?
Well, historically, it's amazing to look at this Toronto squad because McKnight was the centerpiece of all those set plays. He'd be kind of the anchor handler that would help direct traffic. And just it shows you the trust they put into everybody else. It's incredibly important, like we've talked about so much. It helps put Lloyd on defense, Isaiah Maskelly on defense, and those are 2 big guys that can take away big threats.
So they put Devin Williams on Andrew Carroll. A little more size, big athletic bids going away. They're going to try as much as possible, San Francisco, to solve that puzzle.
Ben Burrell shakes free against Pat Bayless. Ashland Joy over to Marcelo Sanchez. There's Kittredge, sure-handed. Marked by Massac Kelly. Now to Lindsley. Lindsley experiencing the double team, somehow sneaks the backhand through to Kittredge. It's a well-timed double by Massac Kelly.
And they are really bothering Grant Lindsley. He's a guy who's used to more or less getting what he wants on offense.
Lindsley throws it past Schlockett, and it's picked off by Mike McKenzie.
Yeah, and I think this defense is in Grant Lindsley's head. He's not getting the easy unders he likes. When he gets the disc, he's looking flustered with all the pressure.
The last couple possessions, San Francisco.
Aaron shooting it for Mike McKenzie, accelerating away from Sanchez. The Rush have their first break of the final.
That was a pretty throw. I mean, that was outside in, really didn't float much, put it right where he needed it. Marcelo Sanchez very fast, had a good read on it, really only needed to close a couple of steps.
Marin in his 4th AUDL season. He joined the team right after they won the title in 2013. It's been a championship weekend every single year as Joy again looks for Kittredge. And he'll beat Martin deep for the 2nd time in the quarter. Pick call downfield. Toronto retreats 10.
Cassidy on Cassidy back on Carroll here.
And now they switch with Cohen chasing Carroll from behind.
I think you need a little size on Carroll. A guy like Cohen kind of makes sense because he's got some length.
Armstrong struggled to get the reset, but beat the stall back to McKnight. This is Burrell. Double team comes on Yearwood. Reset for Lindquist.
Great man D downfield so far from San Francisco. Nice break. There's Lindquist just moving the disc around and releasing it whenever it's appropriate.
And Cam Harris with another error.
Not sure Yearwood knew that was to him. Looked like he thought maybe there was a receiver in the background there.
Eli Kearns, quarterbacks. The D-line's possession. Under a minute to play in the opening quarter. Cohen launching. Kearns chased by Yearwood. Eli's got another one. San Francisco has a 2-goal lead, and the Flamethrowers will receive to start the 2nd quarter, and they've got another chance to break after Brett Tan's throwing error. 25 seconds to go. Dahlman, end zone, got it. Lior Gaval makes it 8-5. Great pull with just 20 seconds to go for Toronto. Lloyd to Armstrong with 14. Lindquist.
Nobody throws like Lindquist.
He's unique in that for sure. Lindquist with 3 seconds gets it off. Carroll surrounded by white jerseys. And it floats over everybody for Burrell. Nobody throws like Lindquist.
The finals kind of started the same way that the semis did, in that we went down a couple points early, some nerves on our end leading to uncharacteristic mistakes, but we were able to battle back, get a couple points towards the end of the first quarter, and because we had been there the day before, there was no real panic on our end and we knew we could come back.
Mike McKenzie got his hand on the disc. No call from the officials. Martin. Another throwaway for Jonathan Martin.
Way out deep from Schlockett. Man, Marcelo Sanchez not happy about that no call there. It's an interesting situation. He's kind of throwing into the defender. It's never 100% clear on when that contact becomes a foul.
One thing we've seen San Francisco do well is throw fakes. I mean, whether it's Grant or Ashland or Mac Taylor, they wind up. You think it's going up, and then they holster. Well, here's one that's going up from Joy. Taylor on the receiving end. Pretty.
You cannot afford to go with a standard force. You have to go flat until they're out of hucking range, or rather close to the end zone. You're giving them free money.
Harris wants Carroll. He accelerates away from Rasmussen. Can't milk it into the end zone. Burrell. Yearwood.
But they have to get that first break. They have to get that exciting play. That they've already gotten one of them, but it just hasn't looked great. They haven't been able to work it down the field.
Well, offensively, Cam Harris has been shaky. We saw Ben Burrell with the early throwaway, and San Francisco has taken advantage. A great percentage on their break chances. Kittredge just across midfield to Lindsley.
Man, the offense looks so smooth right now from San Francisco.
Well, these 7 got plenty of reps yesterday and certainly are gaining confidence. Lindsley, gorgeous shot for Schlockett. Pressure from Williams on Carroll that time in the end zone, prevented the quick look, and now they're sending Burrell. Bayless defensively lingering. And it's Burrell that rises up for the catch. Wow. Carroll to Lindquist, but what a grab by Burrell. Not the smoothest possession, but it ends up with Marcelo Sanchez open by 20 yards. And in 16 seconds, San Francisco strikes. Burrell snatched another. Hassled by one of the top handler defenders in the game, Byron Liu, forcing McKnight to make the slide and grab. Now Lindquist. Nice cut by McKnight. Well, it's Yearwood who's closest to the pylon for the score. Good pull for Toronto, but San Francisco quickly out of the end zone and seeking. Sanchez over his head. Toronto takes over. Lloyd. Near the sideline, Quinn inbounds. Tan Darren Wu playing more defense today for the rush, and Brett Tan fumbles it away. Missed opportunity for Toronto. We'll see if San Francisco can punch it in. Schlockett has Taylor. That seemed really easy. Great crowd on hand here at Claude Robillard Stadium in Montreal, where the Royale played here in 2017. Harris sending Burrell, Bayless trailing again. Burrell did it once more. How good has this guy been for the rush?
Yeah, it's so tough when they get that immediate break off the front of the stacks of Cam Harris, and he gets the flick shot off so fast with so much power. You know, Pat Bayless does a great job of closing, but he really doesn't have the kind of size to go over the top there.
But if you're San Francisco, I'm still thinking I'm going to live with that for a while, and maybe in the second half we change things up, but you're getting so many good chances at a block. Every time Burrell's beaten you, it's been by inches. It's gone his way so far, but you're in a great defensive position.
Sanchez to Taylor. Got it.
That's a pretty throw.
Lefty backhand from Lindsley to Kittredge. Two of the 7 males that represented USA and Poland at the World Games, winning gold. Schlockett landed on the line, so Lindsley will get the goal. There was a travel call, though. And you saw Powell and Joy collide, and they're exchanging some words right now. Now Martin comes in and shoves Ashlyn Joy. And Isaiah Massakelli plays the role of peacemaker, offsetting unsportsmanlike calls, giving Ashlyn Joy and Jonathan Martin each one unsportsmanlike. I woke up this morning talking about the possibility of Ashlyn Joy getting thrown out of the game for 2 unsportsmanlike calls. Taylor lasers it for Marcy. Fair to say that's been Raleigh's reputation for a long time, too?
It has been, but lately Raleigh's really been a different team.
Had the best record in the AUDL in the regular season, 2017, but knocked off by Dallas. That's a beautiful throw from Andrew Carroll to Ben Burrell. These 2 guys have both taken a huge step forward.
Ben Burrell and Andrew Carroll were a handful for San Francisco all day. Those 2 were all over the field. And if San Francisco decided to key in on Carroll, Burrell was going to beat him deep. And if they keyed in on Burrell, Carroll was going to do the same. And so that's really, really great as an offense to have those kind of options.
Downfield, you've got Tan on Lindsley, Massakelli on Taylor, Mike McKenzie on Sanchez.
Yeah, I like seeing Lloyd on Taylor. They're just basically saying you're not going to catch goals anymore.
Another opportunity here for the rush. And a timeout called by Lloyd. 4:50 on the clock. Toronto warmed up yesterday and today in Montreal Expos t-shirts that they bought yesterday here in Montreal to try to curry some favor from the home fans. They used to be in the rivals of the Royale. Harris near the sideline makes the catch.
You talk about that pressure, and it's going to mount mentally, and there's so many cliches about being in the moment and everything, but it's so important. It's such a hard battle. It's part of the game. Is how do you keep focus for 4 quarters?
Travel.
Travel called on Kittredge. Pressure time and a little rock hammer.
Right.
That's all that you need.
I think the referees are on to Bo. He doesn't keep that left foot stationary sometimes. He's starting to get the whistle blown.
It's called for, 3 travels yesterday. Ashland Joy shows his hops and then rips one, but he didn't see the poached defender, and this is an easy block interception for Breton Tan.
That's one of those conservation of greatness moments where Ashland makes a very athletic play up in the air and then immediately boots it.
So here you've got San Francisco's O-line playing D, and well, how about Sachin Reyna using his second and final timeout, sensing the importance of this moment. See if it works out here. They're looking for it all to Carroll. He's got the disc in the red zone. No timeouts. Carroll gets it off. Got San Francisco defenders wondering where the count was.
Yeah, it sure seemed like 7. Look at that.
Tie game on the Yearwood bid. And Lindquist to Yearwood for the tying score at 14-all. Similar flavor to yesterday for Toronto. They fell behind by 4 yesterday. The deficit was 3 today. Now they're back even with 2.5 remaining in the opening half.
And Powell on Ashland. Powell's the guy that initially Ashland got in the altercation with.
Marcy to Kittredge. Over the top, Lindsley is there. Vertical stack here from Toronto.
Good job by San Francisco. Byron Lew was being very physical with Burrell downfield, not letting him go deep.
Kick called on Toronto. The rush will retreat 10 yards. I was chatting with Yo Kawaoka, San Francisco head coach, before the game, and he said Toronto basically has 3 pull plays that they are really, really good at, and it's our job to identify which one they're going to run and adjust accordingly. And it's not necessarily about winning a matchup by anticipating a cut. It's about poaching into a lane, changing a mark. What a shot from Jeff Lindquist. Puts it on a platter for Cameron Harris. Ashland Joy fires a blade to Bo Kittredge. Toronto trying to keep its streak of scoring at the end of quarters alive. And there's a mistake from Toronto, a door opening for San Francisco, and Lucas Dahlman has 2 timeouts left, so why not take one here with 35 seconds on the clock. Quinn and Powell double Joy. 30 seconds for the flamethrowers. Sanchez. Pretty good downfield defense from Toronto, leads to a turnover. And the Rush have no timeouts. Powell juggles but hangs on. Under 10 seconds for Toronto. Lloyd, you want it in his hands. He goes with a scuba and it works! Why not? Lloyd to Powell. Over the top with 2 seconds to go.
I've seen some pretty scoobers, and this is not one of them. But it works so well. There's one path that this disc can take. And I was thinking maybe it'd be a hammer over the top 10. He was in the back of the end zone. But fitting it on the cone, just enjoy the moment.
That's a good golf shot right there.
See the Rush O-line back up there. They're receiving here with a chance to take their first lead of the day. They were broken early after Burrell's mistake when Eli Kearns caught Lucas Dahlman's break just 35 seconds into the game. Antoine Davis marking Thompson McKnight. Kearns on Yearwood. Rasmussen stays with Carroll. Cox on Lindquist. The hammer, Cohen read it, but Harris read it better. Oh, goodness.
Every throw has an application.
There goes Grant Lindsley. Respectful conversation. The officials overturned their call, and McKnight seems to agree. So Palis will get credit for the D.
Oh my.
Ball had it deflected by Yearwood.
Yeah, I think Yearwood knows that move. He said, hey, that's one of mine.
Carroll can't make the tough catch.
And you know, we said pressure over time produces turnovers. We might be seeing some of that right here. I mean, that's a catch that not sure why Carroll didn't make it.
Toronto had one turnover in the second quarter. That's 2 on this point. And the deep shot caught by Canner. San Francisco secures the break to retake the lead. Madison Kelly. We've seen him become much more of a thrower this year. Lloyd bumped by Canner.
Canner is a player that usually brings the pressure on defense against handlers and known for the physicality.
Lloyd rips it. Wow. And the San Francisco defense fell asleep. San Francisco had Mac Taylor out there on D last point. He's still out there on O. Joy harassed by the double team. Gets it downfield for Lindsley. Kittredge taking off. Near the sideline, Bo Kittredge. Got it. 10 on Joy. Powell joins the mark. Forcing it to Rasmussen, who's out there with this O-line. Interesting, Sam Canner stays out there as well. With Lindsley, Sanchez, Kittredge, and Marcy. Powell's bid nearly gets there.
Oh, wow. Nice cut from Marcelo Sanchez.
Missed the window to find him, though. Now Rasmussen wants Lindsley, and he beats Martin once again. Yesterday, it's worth noting, the Rush, after coming back to tie it up with Dallas, did fall back behind by 2 on multiple occasions before finally taking the lead at the very end of the third quarter. We've seen the same exact script from Toronto this weekend. You can tell the crowd is wanting Toronto to score, and they're ready to erupt.
Wow, great D in the lane from Byron Liu.
Little miscommunication on the switch. Both defenders went with a cutter. We've seen Toronto double Ashland Joy a lot early to try to get the disc out of his hands.
And I think that's a smart move. The other adjustment here is that we've seen a lot of other guys on Bo Kittredge, Madison Kelly, but here he is on Mac Taylor, and Lloyd is now on that Kittredge matchup.
Jackie Howe downfield on Lindsley, and Ashland Joy throws Lindsley open. Grant obliges with an outrageous horizontal bid.
They lose all that yardage by dumping back 20 yards to Kittredge.
Rasmussen to Lindsley. Got it. Decent point for Grant Lindsley.
Yeah, you know, that's why sometimes it's nice to just make a flat throw out to space. Then if there's a miscue, at least you're giving your receiver an opportunity to make an adjustment and just run it down there. You know, if that's an outside in, if that's got a little bend on it, it doesn't sit up long enough for Grant to do this.
Carroll's taken off. Harris lets it fly. Cohen peeled off defensively, and Carroll makes the catch anyway. Back to a one-score game. Toronto on D.
Cohen and Bayless, two guys for San Francisco that have been very close to some Ds.
Lindsley denied on the dump by McKenzie. Lloyd, Tam, tie game. Played for the Rush each of the last 4 years. Stall called on Lindsley. The AUDL inexperience, perhaps, starting to bubble up with Grant Lindsley. And the Rush in front.
After scoring 3 in a row to go up 22-21, things were looking really good. The Montreal crowd was going crazy. Momentum seemed to be on our side. We've finally been able to fluster the San Francisco offense with some carefully timed double teams. Things were looking great. We just had to keep our foot on the gas because we knew this thing was far from over.
A lot of flat marks from Toronto. Every time San Francisco catches that on one side, they're going to see a body in front of them. Not only downfield, but on the thrower. They're just too dangerous here to give them open throws.
Rasmussen out there instead of Schlockett for the San Francisco O-line. Schlockett getting looked at by the Flamethrowers athletic trainer, Malika Anderson, on the sideline. Hands marked, denied the upline for Kittredge, and Taylor breaks free. Lindsley and Kittredge.
I've just been impressed all weekend with Toronto. I mean, they're playing outstanding, ultimate, both sides of the disc.
Their mental game. They just keep playing, even after a mistake. You talked about that early in the game yesterday. You like their body language. You like their energy.
Yeah, when you flash back to the last time, you know, Ashland was quarterbacking against this team in the finals in Toronto, I mean, they laid an egg. They checked out. They did not play their best. They were not ready to compete. And what a difference.
Very different Toronto team. You had Ben Burrell, Darren Wu, the young core of Tan, Armstrong, Quinn. Andrew Carroll's a different player now, but there's Kevin Cox flying through the air for the D.
Too many players of Toronto going in the same space. You had Lindquist and Yearwood.
And Yearwood is shaken up, and the whistle will stop the clock with 1:54 to go. Kearns marked by Lindquist. Very close, and Lloyd fouls Joy. These two guys have a friendly history competing against one another. Lloyd just trying to set the mark there as quickly as he can. Joy gets 10 yards. Sizzling throw to Dahlman and then to Lou. So after Toronto gets broken, Lloyd out there, and he'll rip one. Massac Kelly, chased by Canner. San Francisco's defense knocks it away.
That's a heck of a play by Sam Canner. Kelly with space and that size.
Canner has made some big plays this weekend.
Yeah, he plays with a lot of heart, always has. And oh, by the way, cut rules.
Sawyer Thompson rips one. Devin Williams versus Brett Tan. Kelly trailing. Oh, Tan over the shoulder of Williams. What just happened? Martin, another daring chance. Lloyd versus Cohen.
Wow, look at Williams get it back.
Eli Kearns out there on offense after the turnover. And he turns it over.
That's incredible. So much pressure, they can't even reset it, let alone get the ball moving downfield.
And Toronto's taking its time, but there's 10 seconds on the clock and it's still ticking. Lloyd, Scuber, intercepted. Rasmussen knocked it down. And the Rush, for the first time this weekend, will not score the final goal of a quarter. For what it's worth, as I watched that live, I thought Toronto went offside.
Oh yeah, it looked good. Like a good call.
Joy, Marcy, Sanchez, Kittredge, Lindsley, Taylor, and Rasmussen. Taylor to Marcy in 13 seconds.
If I'm game planning for this fourth quarter, it's just about moving the disc over and over again, getting it in Ashland Joy's hands. Don't need to overthink it.
McKnight takes a shot. Ben Burrell, who's been quiet in the third quarter, awakens to start the fourth for the Toronto offense.
These are the kind of teams playing at the kind of pace where you could see a record fall today.
Last year's final, I believe, was 33-27. So they scored 60 in the finals last year. Dallas over Seattle. Lindsley looking for Kittredge. Darren Wu trailing. Kittredge near the back of the end zone gets the foot down for the goal. That was, by the way, the 6th goal of the game for Bo Kittredge. Carroll gets it to Harris. Looks off Burrell, back to the handler McKnight. Carroll. There's a good around break. Armstrong to Harris. Floating it up there. Yearwood sustains possession through the contact. It was Lior Gaval who was so close to the D, and now Yearwood throws it too low to the ground, and goodness.
Oh my.
Burrell shaken up. Joy, his trademark shimmy. The swing off Canner's hand, and then on the second effort, Canner hauls it in. This is Michael Spear. Lloyd so close to a D.
So good at making clean bids like that.
Bayless needed a reset. Crossed field for Devin Williams. Looking end zone. Lloyd got a piece of this one, but it's Sawyer Thompson on the deflection. And then Thompson over the top, it worked out. This game has been high-flying offense from the very start. Kelly's going deep. He misread it. Sandwiched by San Francisco defenders.
8.5 minutes and you're down 3. You gotta get on a roll.
Kearns with the disc. Plays catch with Dahlman. Dahlman back to Kearns near the sideline. And he'll rip one. Canner in pursuit. Sam Canner. 26-23, 7.5 minutes in the fourth quarter of the finals, $20,000 on the line. And Kevin Cox said, yeah, I fouled you. When clearly the refs weren't going to make that call.
Yeah, spirit of the game intact.
Yearwood. End zone. Oh, tough grab by Taylor. Low throw kept alive by Sanchez. And there's Cassidy Rasmussen doing the rest.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, I think O-line is always about just like really, really solid chemistry and guys that have played together for years. And he's a new guy this year, and that might be part of it.
Lindquist giving up the body to keep it alive. Beat the stall count by 1 second.
Pressure is stifling right now from San Francisco. And downfield, I mean, there's not a lot happening. These guys look tired.
Here's Carroll under. Devin Williams on the mark. Maston Kelly for McKnight.
I wouldn't be surprised sooner or later if you just see a shot go up, just because the offense, man, they just look tired.
This is still a good defensive possession. You're taking time off the clock for San Francisco, providing that pressure.
Yearwood to McKnight. 2-point game with half a quarter to go. Plenty of time. If you get a turnover, though, you got to capitalize on it. Great handler defense by Powell, forcing it over the top. And Lloyd comes up with a D, sending Powell to the end zone. And it's a one-goal game. And Kittredge lingering in the handler space. Rasmussen looking for Lindsley. Tan defending. Lindsley's got it. They say he had a foot outside of the end zone.
Wow, I thought he was in.
Well, he gets the assist rather than the goal. Burrell was Toronto's MVP in the semifinal game against Dallas yesterday. That barely squeaked over Dahlman, and Wu to Harris. 16 seconds.
It affects the play. It's the right call.
Joy marked by Huynh. Dangerous bid by McKenzie. Rasmussen appears to be okay. And Toronto will have possession, down by 1.
Yeah, Cassidy appealing to McKenzie. McKenzie just runs away and says, nah, that was clean.
Both teams are out of timeouts. You can't call one to sub a fresh 7 in. And how about Eli Kearns completely canceling the huck from Powell on the spot. Now the other way, Taylor in pursuit. Got it!
Wow, what a sequence of events. And Taylor lands right on that shoulder.
No Carroll on the field for the offense. They're looking to hold here and put Carroll on the D-line, which you're going to have to do when you're down.
Cam Harris going deep.
They'll come back for the under, looking for Wu. Another majestic shot from Harris. San Francisco by 1, under 2 minutes to play.
Lloyd so aware, ready to get another poach D.
Toronto has to be a little bit more aggressive. They don't have time.
Rasmussen to Sanchez. San Francisco by 2 with 81 seconds left. The clock doesn't stop until there's 30 seconds to go, so by walking it, that bleeds time.
Yeah, they really need to get this to the end zone. They may not get the look they're hoping for.
McKnight takes a shot. Yearwood makes the catch.
Well, I was doubting the flick poles earlier, but that's a fantastic one downfield.
Immediate double team. San Francisco 5 or 6 completions away from clinching a title.
But if they turn it here,
Kittredge, a wobbly one to Kearns.
it's only a 1-point game.
San Francisco does not have a timeout. Toronto needs a turnover. Dahlman back to Kittredge. In the end zone to Joy. And that should do it. Lindsley watches the time tick away, and for the 4th year in a row, Bo Kittredge is the champ. This year it's with San Francisco.
The last point of the game, we had the unenviable task of trying to get the disc off the San Francisco goal line. They didn't have to score. They just had to kill the clock. And with each pass, you almost feel the championship slipping through your fingers. I'm really proud of the way that we played that game and on that whole weekend. And we may not have won the championship, but I think we won a lot of respect.